Are you too busy to pick out the perfect outfit every day? I get it. It's tough to juggle work, life, and still find the time to focus on fashion. That's where Armoire comes in. With a clothing rental membership, you can effortlessly turn heads with stylish, everyday looks tailored just for you. With all of our book events and photo ops recently, I've rented all my outfits from Armoire. It's been so fun and so great to not have to buy a whole new wardrobe, but also be on trend and even experiment with some different styles. All I did was take a quick 5-minute style quiz, build a personalized closet, and wait for high quality, unique pieces delivered to my door in as little as 2 days. Oh, and did I mention that Armoire is women founded and women led? Right now, our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style/dateable. That's Armoire, spelled ARMOIRE.style/DATEABLE to get up to 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try Armoire today.
I know firsthand how much stress can mess with your hormones. Between work, life, and everything else, it's easy to feel completely out of balance. That's where Happy Mammoth comes in. They offer a free 2-minute quiz that can help you uncover the root cause of your hormonal symptoms. It's super easy. Just answer a few questions about what you're going through and where you're at in life. You'll get a personalized recommendation to help balance your hormones and start feeling better. When I took the quiz, it suggested that my body may be overloaded with hormone estrogen and may be struggling to metabolize it. By taking Hormone Harmony, it could help with bloating, anxiety, fatigue, overwhelm, and so much more. With over 40,000 5-star reviews and a bottle selling every 24 seconds, the results speak for themselves. So if you're ready to start feeling like yourself again, head over to happymammoth.com and take their free 2-minute hormone quiz today to find the ultimate answers to your stubborn hormonal issues. And for a limited time, you could also get 15% off your entire first order with our code DATEABLE at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code DATEABLE for 15% off today.
Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Kraftchick.
We're active daters turned dating insiders.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to Dateable. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Brunch Talk. We are back. We're going to discuss so many dating challenges and questions that you all have sent in. They're so relatable. Like, it's just unbelievable how relatable they are and how you're not alone in whatever you're going through.
Absolutely true. We have some really good topics today around moving on and then also finding out your ex has moved on. So we're going to get into all of that as well.
And of course, if you are listening to this, know that you can always join us on YouTube. We go live Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Search for the Dateable Podcast and just wait for us to appear magically.
And of course, you can continue to send questions like you have through reviews or through email. Whatever is your jam, we will get to as many questions as we possibly can in all these brunch talks. And also throw in an update or two of what's going on in our lives, in the dating world, whatever makes sense. Like we're having brunch.
We love a good update or two, especially if you've asked us a question before and maybe implemented some of our advice.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
Updates from others.
So
love it.
Tell us what's going on in your world.
Yeah.
Make it a two-way conversation. But this conversation, though, are we ready to open the X files?
Ooh.
I'm not, but I will be. I will brace myself because many of you have been wondering with X Resurrection season, if you got that. Exes seem to come back and sometimes you don't cut off all communication with them. And someone recently went through the situation where an ex from a long time ago posted about his recent engagement. And even though she has no attachment to him, is not pining after him, has no unresolved feelings for him because she has moved on to a much better partner for her, it still stung to see that he made this grand announcement of him finding the one with this new woman. So the feelings are coming back, but she's having a hard time navigating what is this feeling? Why is this stinging so bad when I am so over this relationship and this person?
Yeah. And Yue, when you messaged me, you're like, have we done an episode? I can't think of it, but we had
No.
to have done an episode. And for a second, I'm like, of course we did this. And then I'm like, I don't think we've touched on
No.
this. So here we are today. We're doing it. So we love getting these questions or sentiments. It doesn't even have to be a question. I think this is more of this is a weird feeling and I just want to relate to other people. And I totally get it. I think it brings up a lot. Of course, like where you are with it, it sounds like the person that is sharing this has moved on. But I think if it's fresh, it could feel different too than if it's been years. But even after years, I think there's this feeling of like, maybe, I don't know. And again, I don't know like the full story of this person, but maybe there's this feeling of like, you know, if they wanted to, they would. And now they are with someone else, but they couldn't with me. And like, what the F? And there's like almost that feeling, but it's like not actually accurate, but I get where that's coming.
I think I would definitely feel that way with my ex, the one that cheated. If I found out that he is somehow recently engaged or in a committed relationship, I think it's two things I would think about. One is, oh, is he scamming someone else? Is she going to find out eventually? But then the insecurities would pop up and say, oh, did he find someone he would choose to stay faithful for? And that wasn't me. Right? Am I not as worthy as this person?
So maybe it really comes down to like how it ended and how the whole thing went down. I don't know. I'm just thinking about like my own scenario. And of course, like until you're in it, you never know how you'll fully react. But I feel like with my ex, it was like he wasn't ready for a relationship. He had own personal work to do and, you know, just wasn't there in the point of like really committing to a relationship. And I think if we had broken up and then like, I don't know, even a year later, 2 years later, if he was like engaged and now he could like suddenly commit to someone, of course I'd be like, what the F? And I'd take it personally. I think now though that like so much time has gone by. And again, I'm not saying like if you don't feel this way, there's something like wrong or anything like that. It's just my personal take. I think now because I'm like engaged, I'm moved on. If he told me he was too, and this is also how many years later, like 5 years plus, even longer since we first started dating, I'd be like, good for him. You know, he grew and did what he needed to do to get there. But I also do see like the resentment side of it. Like, so I'm not, again, it's not like one is right or wrong. It's maybe just we're individual circumstances too.
And the person who posed this question is in the situation you're in. She's in a much better relationship. This past relationship ended a long time ago, years and years ago. And I think that's why it's bringing up so much for her, because she's like, I thought I was completely over this and I thought I would just celebrate the ex without having my own feelings attached to it. But it is bringing up something for me. So why is that?
So was she able to identify what that is?
Like, I think she's still working through it. I'm not going to speak for her, but yeah.
So I think that's another piece. And again, I don't know the friend or the circumstance. I'm just like saying things, but I would probably look at it like, is this shining a light of something that's maybe not fully there for me if I'm feeling this way?
Yeah, I think there could be, I guess you just never know until this happens. See, my response to all of this is why I mentally murder my exes, because I don't even want the chance of this happening. I unfollow them when our mutual friends talk about him. I just stop them right away. I don't want to hear any news. I want to prevent this from happening. Last night, I couldn't go to bed, Julie, and I was going through my old emails and I found an email exchange between this guy I dated for like a month and a half in Beijing. It was like the hottest fling I ever had. And I had major feelings for this guy. He was like this Canadian expat who was on his way back to Canada. So after he moved back to Canada, we had this discussion about whether we keep each other in each other's lives, whether we still follow each other on Facebook and LinkedIn and all that. And I told him my school thought was, I don't. I want this to be a clean break. You were great for that time in my life, but I don't want to know when you start dating someone else. And you know what he said? He said, if you were a part of my life that shaped me into who I am today. So if you were to date someone else and I find that somewhere and it brings pain for me, that is my thing I need to work through. And he said, I would welcome that pain because it would mean that I am growing.
I guess that's what I was trying to say in a maybe more eloquent way, the way he said it, of like, what is this shining for your friend? Like, is there something unhealed that is actually like a reflection of this. Like the guy was saying, it's less about you and the ex and all that. And it's more about like, what does this mean for me? I don't know. I actually found on TikTok this morning and I screenshotted it because I knew we were doing this conversation. And I thought it was like really, I don't know, the way that this was written was really nice. So it was a video and it was like, months after we broke up, my ex said, I will not try to find someone better than you because we both know that's impossible, but I will try to find someone better for me. And that made me realize that you could be the most perfect person and still not be a perfect fit for someone. So don't overthink it. You could have the kindest heart, the brightest mind, and the softest soul, and it still would not make you right for the wrong person. Their inability to stay does not mean you are lacking. It only means that they were never meant to hold the kind of love you have to offer. And I really like that because I'm like, look, like at the end of the day, it's, again, it's easy to take things personally. I'm the queen of taking things personally. So I get it. But really, a lot of it is that. Like at the end of the day, it's not like there's something wrong that someone's moved on. Like hypothetically, even if your ex tomorrow committed to some new girl, it doesn't mean that like you were broken and that's why he could do it with someone else. It just means for whatever reason, it wasn't right.
Theoretically, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? It all makes sense. It is very hard taking the self out of this. Because I also think about with my ex, him declaring that he's just not good with commitment and not good with committing to a person for life and possibly marriage was just not in his cards. And I find out that he's now engaged to someone. I think that would make it feel personal for me. Like he was saying that direct to me.
Yeah.
Right.
I get that it feels it, but I think at the end of the day,
It's not. Yes.
right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. And I do love that people can lean into this, whatever curiosity and investigate these feelings that are bringing up for you. Because I think I've always been the avoidant type, like just avoid the situations where this sort of pain could be brought up. But now I'm kind of rethinking it. Maybe I just lean more into it. Not going to look for hurt, right? But if it does get brought up in some way, maybe it'll just make me more resilient.
I mean, I remember it's not the exact same situation at all, but I remember that there was this guy that I was dating like a long, long time ago that I was really into. Like told him I wanted to be in a real relationship, the whole thing. And he basically was like, I haven't committed to someone since I was right out of college. This was like when I was like late 20s. And he was like, yeah, like I'm just not looking for that, basically. And then a week later, I see on Facebook a photo of him and a girl at House of Prime Rib, which is like a really nice restaurant in San Francisco.
We love House of Prime Rib, yes.
But you don't just go there on a casual date, right?
Right.
So I'm like, and they were posed. It looked like they were celebrating her birthday. So I was like, okay, he's clearly been really dating someone and defined it with her. And that stung real bad. I remember like my stomach just dropping seeing that photo. And it took a while because I was like, clearly we were both dating at the same time. And he decided that this person is someone worth committing to, and I wasn't. And that really stung, especially when I was in that taking it personal mode. But over the years, like I think they're married today. I mean, I don't really know because I'm not like super in touch with him, but I saw photos around the line that looked like it because we were friends on Facebook. And I hit a point that I was like, look, if this was the right person for him, this was the right person for him. It doesn't like mean anything. You know, it's hard to not take it personally. I get that, but it really isn't at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, I get it. And it takes time to really understand that. But in the moment, it can feel like you're singled out, like a spotlight has been shined on you, right? To be like, you were not the chosen one. It was not you. It feels that way.
Right. And it sounded like with the situation you were talking about, it was like the declaration was part of it, right?
Yes. And I think the declaration is hard, especially, and I do wonder if the person who asked this question, especially if her ex never made that kind of declaration with her.
Yeah. So maybe that's where some of the, that's where it's coming from. So I think about this a lot. Like, I would say my partner is the love of my life, right? But would my ex be upset to hear that? It could sting. It could sting to hear that, like to hear someone say that. But the thing is, like, at the time with him, he was the love of my life. Like, it's not like he wasn't either. Clearly, where I am now is a different scenario. But I think sometimes it's not like one or the other. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, it feels like love feels like a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
You can only declare love for one person. You can only be committed to one person. And if you're committed to this one person, it takes away from your love of this previous person, which is not true. We're talking about this in a very scientific way. It's not true. But when you're the one in it, it does feel like, did you not mean it?
Right.
Was it just said to manipulate me? It does make you question the relationship a little bit.
Yeah. I want to take a quick break to hear from our partners. Did you hear the Environmental Protection Agency just banned 2 cancer-causing chemicals? And there's a good chance they're in a ton of your cleaning products, which is why we love Blueland. They're EPA Safer Choice certified, and they are on a mission to eliminate single-use plastic by reinventing cleaning essentials to be better for you and the planet. In my household, we've completely switched over to Blueland and could not be happier. Not only do the products give you the same powerful clean you're used to, but they offer refillable cleaning products. It's so much easier to not constantly rebuy and lug around heavy products. The laundry tablets have been an absolute game changer for me because we still do not have laundry in unit. Plus, our clothes come out so fresh and clean, which is why Blueland is trusted in over 1 million homes, including mine. Blueland has a special offer for listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/dateable. You won't want to miss this. Blueland.com/dateable for 15% off. That's blueland.com/dateable to get 15% off. So I've been hearing about Skims for a while now, but I never really understood the hype. But let me tell you, it is legit. I don't think I'll ever wear another brand of underwear again, I swear. That's how obsessed I am. I love both the boy shorts and the Racerback Scoop bralette. They feel like no other underwear I've ever worn before. Literally, it feels like you aren't even wearing underwear because the fabric melts on your skin. Yet it still has the support I need, which is seriously just blows my mind in the best way possible. I don't know what they put into this fabric, but it feels like pure bliss, and I will be 100% getting all my wedding garments from Skims because I can't go back at this point. Hopefully you all could experience this level of comfort too. Shop Skims Fits Everyday Collection and more at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know I sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select Dateable in the drop-down menu that follows.
Once the weather started getting warmer, I realized I was back in the same worn-out rotation. Same tank, same shorts, same everything. So I gave my daily uniform an upgrade with Quince. Their pieces are easy, elevated, and somehow make me feel more put together without even trying. Like 100% European linen shorts and dresses from $30, luxe swimwear, Italian leather platform sandals, and so much more. Now, my favorite summer item has been the super soft bike shorts that are so perfect for everyday wear and has the quality of high-end athleisure brands. But by cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. Treat your closet to a little summer glow up with Quince. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/DATEABLE to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dateable.
I'm not like super in contact with exes right now, but I do have some people that are still floating on Instagram. They weren't like super serious exes, but they were people in my life at one point. And they definitely have like seen me post like photos that I'm engaged. I have my most serious ex that I do occasionally talk to. I have not texted him and been like, I'm engaged, because that's so weird. Like, why would you say that? Think about like, do they have any residual feelings, or are they just like, good for her, I don't care? You know, it's hard to know.
You don't know. Maybe they don't know until they see the announcement. I'm telling you, you really never know what they think. So the ex or the ex-fling I was telling you about in our exchange, he said, I want to hear about you dating someone else from you first.
Yeah.
That was like one of his rules if we were to keep being friends. And then 2 is if you're happy, I'm happy for you because you're someone who meant something to me in my life and I want to see the people I love be happy. But when I had been in all those other relationships in my life and with our book and our podcast and everything, there were so many things to celebrate. He has never once reached out to say congratulations or I'm so happy for you. Like there has never been anything like this. So to me, I'm like, did you really mean it or it just sounded good in the moment?
Yeah. I mean, I think like my ex, he obviously knew I was dating someone seriously. And I think he was happy for me. I think there was like a little bit of, that kind of sucks that there's someone, not like sucks that there's someone else, but like I couldn't be that person. Like a little bit of that. But I think overall he's happy. And if I told him I was engaged, I think he'd be happy for me. But like, how do you do that? You're not gonna like text someone and be like, guess what? News. Plus you're not invited, like you're not gonna do that. So I'm just like, I'm clearly never gonna like say it unless it like comes up somehow, like out of context.
I think it would be so weird to say it.
No.
You to tell him. That'd just be so weird. It feels like you're rubbing it in his face.
So it's really Facebook and Instagram is the only way you find out nowadays. Or like if you have mutual friends and like you hear. Friends. But no one's going to like text someone and be like, life update.
Or some of my friends have found out through the New York Times.
Really?
Remember that's how Carrie found out about Big and Natasha? Yes. I've definitely had friends in New York who found about their exes getting married to someone.
But like in the last like couple years or like years? No. Yeah, I feel like that's
years
like
ago.
Sex I don't even think that's City a thing era. Now. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not a thing. Like who's still doing that?
Newspaper. It's Instagram now.
Right. You don't want to be announced in the New York Times. You want to be announced on their Instagram account.
I do want to run a poll though. I mean, for anyone that's live listening, please drop it in the comments, but we're going to put a poll up on Spotify when this airs because I want to see what people's take is. And granted, I do think like some of it is like how much time has gone on and where you are and all that. But I mean, I would be curious if people would feel that ping, like if their ex got engaged or was in a serious relationship after saying they couldn't be with them, or if they really wouldn't care.
And like you said, I think it really does depend on how it ended. With the relationships where I got out voluntarily and I decided this partner was not right for me, I don't think it would hurt that bad. But in the ones where it's kind of murky the way it ended or you didn't really want it to end, I think that's where it gets more painful.
So I was looking up just some stats around like moving on in general. Clearly there's not like a specific formula of like how long it takes to move on, even though we wish there was. But the Journal of Positive Psychology study was saying on average 3 months is when you start to feel significantly better after a breakup. And then 71% of people reported feeling better within 11 weeks of a breakup. This is something I've been thinking about because I know in my circumstance, and I have other people in my life that I'm looking at this now, sometimes it's hard to like rip that Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to accept my ex and I were over. Like it was more comfortable for me to stay in this place of feeling like we could be together again. But I think ultimately that actually like prolonged the getting over it. And I feel like I look at you and you were like, nope, we are done. We are done. And you were able to move on faster. But it was like you had to sit with it and it was hard in that month, but it was like almost more condensed.
Yeah, I think the hardest relationships are the ones that end with possibility. There's just always like external circumstances. Oh, you can't be together. But what if? There's always that what if.
Granted, this was in 2015, so I'm curious on your take on this too. But there was a study that was titled Too Fast, Too Soon, an empirical investigation into rebound relationships, which was saying that they actually found that individuals who entered new relationships shortly after a breakup reported higher confidence in their desirability and greater resolution over their ex-partner. I think that's kind of interesting of like, it's basically contrary to the popular notion that rebound relationships are detrimental.
We did another little poll on Instagram. The question was, how long do you give between relationships? And most people picked 1 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So the options were 1 to 6, 6 to 12, and over a year. Most people picked 1 to 6. Which I guess in that you can also say like 1 to 3 is short and 3 to 6 is, longer time. I am very shocked by that though, because I thought you're supposed to really sit with the ending of a relationship, give it time before you jump into something else, because otherwise you're just bringing the same baggage over.
Yeah, and I guess maybe what's the metric? Because it sounded like the metric they were using is reported higher confidence in their desirability.
Yeah. Validation.
But greater resolution over their ex is interesting.
So do you think the person who asked this question has some unresolved issues with the ex?
I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's like spans so long. I'm wondering if there's some correlation. I do kind of see that side of it because I know that time that I wasn't really ready to give it up, he was just like occupying my mind for a really long time. Where if I had moved on, I could have like met someone else and shifted gear. So then if they moved on, I would not have felt that same ting that I would have if I was like sitting in it so much.
But you could also move on with someone who's not right, and then it would amplify the hurt of not being in that relationship or make you miss the ex even more.
Yeah, I would love to deep dive this study more because I feel like it's so, first of all, it's from 2015 too. And I wonder if like some of the stuff that exists today of like being away from that ex-partner also, like Instagram, for instance, was not as prevalent there. So like to have greater resolution, I mean, I get it in theory, like if you're moved on to someone else, and then, yeah, like what's that? Like if you move on and meet an incredible partner, like I have a friend that moved on pretty fast, I would say. Even you, like yours isn't like so fast, but it was a pretty short time relative to like the 5-year relationship. And then they met someone like really wonderful. Like my other friend, I'm thinking, is married today to that person. And like in theory, people could be like, oh, it was a rebound. It was quick, but it wasn't because it actually ended up being the right person for them. It could go either way, depending on who you actually meet too.
I guess only you know. When you know if you're ready to move on to the next relationship. And then some people, you can dwell in that ex or the previous relationship for a really long time. And that gets really counterproductive for your love life.
Yeah.
So it is nice to get back out there, as they say, and be open to whoever you could be meeting. Maybe there is a sweet spot. It's like between 6 and 12 months is a good time.
It's also probably like how much do you bring to the surface versus avoid too.
Yeah, of course.
So hard because like even like the stats around like 3 months in, I feel like if you've been mentally checked out of your relationship, like I know a lot of people in this circumstance that they were with their partner for years and then like at least building up a year to break up. So of course, once they finally do, they're going to be ready to date versus like when it comes out of nowhere. I think they're very different circumstance.
There's also, I just thought about this and bring this back to the original question. I find myself doing this too. Sometimes you mourn the celebration of milestones. Maybe you've done it all already. And then all of a sudden your ex is now celebrating a milestone that you've already done. And it's like, it gives you this feeling of, well, what do I have next? What is this thing I need to announce next? And you hear this from a lot of people after they get married, have kids in a short window of time. After they have the kids, they're like, oh God, now I have like nothing to celebrate. There's like nothing to, there's no milestone for me to put out there. And it sounds very superficial when I say it out loud, but there is some grieving to that. It's like, oh, I've already settled into my life and this person's just starting their milestones.
No, I could see it. There's something there that's a reflection on yourself. But what that is, it could be many different things. It's like
so many different things.
Yeah. How do you unpack it?
First, read our book. Good, though. I think we hit many different corners of this topic. But at the end of the day, you know yourself best. And it's good to explore what this brings up for you. Don't try to avoid it like I used to.
Yeah. And I think there's like no right or wrong here. Like in different circumstances have different results too of feeling away versus not. And yeah, it's just just listening to like what's coming up for you and bring you back to yourself and saying like, okay, I feel this way. I'm not going to pretend like I don't.
Yeah.
But what does this really mean for me? Because at the end of the day, who cares about your ex?
No.
Like, no,
Right.
they're done.
Ex for a reason.
So should I invite all my exes to the wedding? I'm just kidding.
You should. Yeah, you should personally invite them and
Definitely
then have a therapist
not.
on hand for people who are working through their emotions.
And also, what does it say about me that all of my exes are still super single?
Yeah. Oh, I don't think it says anything about you. But-
Well, it says something about the people I chose. I will say that. It shows that they like actually really weren't looking for commitment in any way if they're still single to this date.
Yeah. Or you messed them up so bad they'll never date again, Julie. You were the last one.
I don't think so. I think it's like because that was the recurring theme of me. Like none of them wanted to fully commit, and they're
Yeah.
still not committed to anyone.
Well, at least they're true to themselves.
One day, if they are, I will celebrate them. I will be
Good.
happy for them. I really will.
Good.
I don't think there's anyone that I'm like, oh, F you. But I also feel like no one really F'd me over. I think there's a difference.
Right. Yeah, they didn't like they're still good people.
Yeah. Like if
Yeah.
your ex gets married,
Yeah.
I won't be like congratulating him.
No, I'll be like, girl,
Good
I'm
luck.
sorry.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, though, too, it's like, it's either that they were just the right people for each other, which is like, it is what it is. It kind of, it's
Mhm.
like, it's a little bit of a hard pill to swallow, but at the end of the day, you found someone
Yeah.
that's the right person for you. Let them do that too. Or the person is going to get the exact same version that you did. They haven't changed at all. And you
I
don't want that
know.
anyways.
Groundhog's Day.
I mean, you don't really know from like a post on Facebook or Instagram. You don't know what their relationship's like.
Nobody knows. Well, that is the most time I've ever spent thinking about my ex. So I think I'm done for the year. That's my quota.
I still can't get over that you've never run into him again. Like that to me is the
or
baffling
any of my
part.
exes.
Yeah,
Any of them.
I've run into your ex, not the bad ex, but I've run into another ex multiple
I
times.
know. Living in the same city. Never. Or they like truly they see me from far away and they probably run away.
I
Which is the way
mean,
it should
your
be.
ex ignored me twice, so I don't even know what he would do when he saw you. Granted, he was walking with another girl both times. There was one time I walked right by him, and I was gonna say hello because like there was no like he didn't like screw you over either. Like you
No.
guys were whatever. It ended because it just ended,
Yeah.
and I was right next to him. I was gonna be
And he
like,
was
"Hey,
like-
how are you?" And he looked at me and he looked down. I'm like, "Okay, guess we're not doing that."
He probably shit his pants.
Yep. He's like, yeah, we're not going to pretend like we know each other. And I'm like, okay. But I
That's
get
so
it. Maybe he
weird.
didn't want to be
Like-
like, how do you know that girl? It's like my
Ugh.
ex's friend. I don't know. Even though who
Like
cares?
we're grown ass
Yeah.
people. And like at that time you ran into him, he was probably like already in his 50s. Isn't it time to grow up?
Okay.
Right?
The thing is, though, I will say that right now on this podcast. But if it was me in that moment and I was like
Yeah.
awkward, I admit it. I ran into this guy. I won't even call him my ex. He, in a way, is a little, but like my 2.5 year situationship.
Oh yeah.
I was in Whole Foods. I was actually really sick and I looked disgusting, which was part of it. And I was there to pick up a pizza and I saw him and I was like, oh, hell no. I do not want to interact with him right now. And like the mature me, if I was on this podcast out of the situation, I'd be like, of course I'd say hello. I have no like issue with him today. But in that moment, my instinct was to
Run.
hide and get the F out of Whole Foods.
Because that's a whole other episode.
What do you do when
What
you
does
run
that
into
bring?
them?
Yeah. What is that bringing up for you exactly? I remember being the bigger person to go up to another ex when I was with the boyfriend at the time. We ran into my ex and his wife.
Yeah.
And the brother. And I was like, I'm going to go up and say hi. I'm going to be the bigger person. And it was like the most awkward interaction ever. And I so regret doing that. So I actually wish I had just run and hid.
I think because I was sick was the real driver and I looked disgusting. I was like, I don't want to see this person after like 10 years and be like,
Oh.
anyways. I also ran into another ex, I guess. Like, again, this was like not someone I defined a relationship with, but it was like an on again, off again person for a bit. and he lives like across the street from me. So I ran into him on the street and I saw him approaching and I was by myself and I was like, I wonder if he's like what this interaction is. But he stopped and he was very nice. He's like, how are you? What are you up to? Like very nice. And like we're still like Instagram friends. So it's not like we have no idea what the other is up to, but very cordial and nice. And then parted ways. I don't know, 4 days later, I was with my partner and I see him again. And I was just like, and he was definitely going to ignore me. Like, I think he was like waiting for my cue. And I was just like, hi. Like, we didn't like stop and chat, but I like waved.
Yeah. Awkward.
Awkward encounters. Send us yours. We love hearing about awkward encounters with exes. It is a really great talk.
What is the weirdest ex encounter you've ever had? Tell us your stories.
I'm glad we were able to open the X Files on this episode and close it now.
Now we're going to close it. Yep.
Sealed for never again. No, just
never again. Yes. No more opening the X Files ever again. But thank you for tuning in. And maybe this made you think about what an ex could bring up for you, especially if they're announcing a major celebration like an engagement.
Yep. Use it for growth.
All right. We're going to be back next week. Send us your dating questions. You can also join live. Just remember, we go live every Tuesday on YouTube at 4 p.m. PST.
Okay. Remember to get How to Be Dateable out now. Audiobook, hardcover, Kindle, whatever you fancy.
And we'll see you all next week.
Bye.